Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great day. I just wanted to take a second. I saw in the comments some of you guys are talking about my misuse of grammar. I do apologize. I do have a speech impediment. Sometimes I get my words all kind of mixed up in a whole mixing bowl, and sometimes my mouth can't keep up with what my brain is thinking and in terms of processing. So sorry about that. I'll try to slow down, especially because I do tend to speak fast sometimes, and I was getting excited about earnings. But let's talk about today. Before you get too far, of course, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and, of course, just dispatching it to you. PLTR, we continue to see this sell-off that is occurring, down about 15%. Now, remember, earnings was actually very well, and PLTR smashed earnings, in my opinion, and a lot of the general opinion that we saw across the market. However, the reason why we saw the sell-off is because they had a slight change in the future guidance, and the analysts, I think, kept pushing PLTR to this higher milestone in terms of what they were expecting for the remainder of the year. Now, with that being said, you have some analysts that are coming in here, Dan Ives, big ones that are saying this could possibly be a golden opportunity because nothing has changed with PLTR. They've actually really only been successful with a really great earnings outlook, and now we see it at a 15% discount compared to what was trading just a few sessions ago. Pop it up on the screen here. What we see for PLTR, a lot of volume came in here. We saw this cascade event coming down at 161 in terms of volume, pretty high at 2140, finding support here at about the mid kind of lower 20s. Now, this critical reversal point was tested here at the 20. This could be tested tomorrow if we continue to see this cascade of this pullback or this correction that you can probably call now in PLTR. This is a very important support level at the 20s because this was where a reversal was triggered after this head and shoulders bearish pattern was tested right at this point. Now, this could also be the end of the sell-off for PLTR, and we could see back up here momentum that is starting to gain. The reason I say that is because the market is still having success, as the market in the S&P specifically has had the rise for 4 days in a row now, and this is because we're seeing confidence growing across the market that a Goldilocks job report will hopefully give the Federal Reserve enough of a push or a reason to ease up on interest rates and finally have the first rate cut. One thing, remember, earlier in the year, the Fed did come out and say that they were going to hopefully reduce interest rates at least one time this year. And as each day comes closer, that means the end of the year does come closer. So anticipation will continue to grow, expecting the Fed to hopefully at least cut rates at least one time, as we've been remaining steady for the last few of their decisions. Now, let's talk about PLTR and talking about rebooting the price targets, especially here after earnings. One thing that I wanted to pinpoint, and this is a great article by The Street here, is that Alex Karp, he did not really hold back on the earnings call, saying that they crushed Q1 earnings here in the U.S. and saying that they are on fire. I couldn't agree any more. And specifically here, they are winning in the U.S. and building this infrastructure, especially with AIP, that has really allowed them to bring a lot of exposure to the software that they are selling to these clients. And in addition, with the U.S. government still continuing those relationships and building partnerships like we saw with the tightening contract and working to still increase revenue metrics within the company. Now, this sell-off right here, Webush right here, Dan Ives says, is a golden opportunity. The reason why he says is that this is a golden opportunity, and what he thinks on why we saw such of a pullback here is that maybe we saw a decrease in the actual commercial revenue growth that was sharply declined from 70% to 40%. But the focus right here is saying that the stock is right now on an underperform. However, what he even comes out here and publicly says on Twitter is that boot camps are exploding. And we've seen this. Alex Karp has said that they're averaging 5 per day. We saw, I believe, on the earnings slide deck that we talked about yesterday, like over 950 AIP boot camps that have been completed since the launch of AIP mid last year. And also right here, the AIP vision, this is showing the acceleration of this effect. And the key to the stock, and I have always said this is a major catalyst for PLTR in my opinion right here, is the AIP and the U.S. commercial and the AI executing these deals. Saying here he's maintaining his $35 price target. Now, with the maintenance of this $35 price target, Palantir does need to beat a 52-week year-to-date high here at 27.50, and we do need to see that push that will likely be formulated at about that $30 level. We even see on the bottom level here, RBC Capital. Remember them? They were saying that they were holding that $5 price target. They actually raised their price target here on Palantir to $9 from that $5. But of course, they're still very bearish on PLTR. To be expected, you can look at the price target right here, saying having an underperform rating and saying that their earnings was already largely priced in. They talk about valuation a lot. Of course, we know Palantir is highly valued right now. But with that being said, you see that revenue, and especially with the future guidance, really did not change that much. It came in just slightly on the lower end. And I think the market and investors, institutional investors, were expecting PLTR to have another historical type burst that we saw in the previous quarter. We do see right here, Cathie Wood. You guys sometimes make fun of me for even talking about Cathie Wood, but I'm just talking about what's happening. Like I said, collecting all the data and just dispatching it to you guys. She here accumulates another 1.35 million shares of Palantir after reporting the Q1. It looks like Cathie Wood particularly has been accumulating PLTR shares below the $22 level. And speaking right here, now, next earnings, we're specifically seeing revenue estimates of about $352 million. They basically hit that in the last earnings. So it'll be interesting to see if Wall Street continues to keep PLTR at a really high bar, because with the expectations and the trendiness behind this stock right now, we are continuing to see everybody literally having a lot of hopium for this stock. Palantir, 6 quarters of GAAP profitability now, which means the S&P 500, that inclusion could happen at any quarter. I think that's going to be another historical milestone for PLTR as it continues to build upon its AIP clientele and still, of course, continue its trustworthy and its credible governmental contracts. Right now, we're staying bullish on PLTR. Could the $20 here likely be tested? Easily. Or could this be the end of the sell-off? I mean, it came down 15%. I think we could possibly be seeing a swing to the greener side tomorrow. That's my short-term prediction, just because, like I said, Palantir smashed their earnings, and the market is still doing fairly well in terms of the economic conditions that we are in. That's all that I have for you guys. I want to know, what do you think down in the comments? Do you think Palantir is going to continue to see a pullback? Do you agree that this is a golden opportunity here, that Webush calls it, Dan Ives calls it? Or do you think that the high valuation is starting to become a reality for PLTR and will continue and possibly see below the 20s? Lot to digest here. I want to know what you guys are thinking. Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.